After spending the last 3 months with the Sig P365 chambered in 380, I'm finally here to give you guys a full review, share some of its features and some of its bugs, as well as my overall thoughts. So I started working with the P365 series about a year ago, and I always kind of felt pretty much from the get-go that it's a little bit snappy, and that's mostly just indicative of the fact that it's a small gun, and pretty much any small gun chambered in 9mm or higher is going to be a touch snappy. But that didn't stop me from continuing down that process and kind of looking for a more shootable P365, which led me to working with the Spectre Comp and the P365-380. Sig wound up sending me both of these guns to try, and if you'd like to see my full review on the Spectre Comp, go ahead and check out last week's video, but I find that the P365-380 is compelling for a lot of other and different reasons. The P365-380 is essentially the same overall size as its 9mm counterpart, but with a slightly lighter slide. It also comes with an optics-ready cut that sits forward of the rear sight. It also comes with 2 P365 mags with a spacer at the back to accommodate the 380 and has the same capacity as the 9mm mags. But it is not necessarily compatible with standard P365 holsters, which we'll get more in depth on later in the video. So why would you want the P365 chambered in 380 instead of 9mm? I remember when Sig announced that they were launching a 380, it was right around the same time that we all started hearing about this new caliber called 30 Super Carry, and I think a lot of people were hoping that Sig would be launching a 30 Super Carry gun, and then they came out with 380. But honestly, this was something that I was super stoked about from the get-go, because at the time I was working with my P365 and really struggling with recoil management and thus shooting performance with that smaller package. And I felt that and still do feel that the P365 chambered in 380 really fills that niche where somebody would want a small gun that they can manage recoil well and shoot really well. The P365-380 is seriously easy mode when it comes to recoil, and a considerable difference between the 380 and the 9 in this specific category. Although the 380 isn't necessarily as ballistically capable as 9mm, there are loads that achieve adequate penetration. If you want more information on this specifically, go check out Lucky Gunner's ammo testing page as well as this Lucky Gunner video. Based on Lucky Gunner's testing as well as some conversations I had with some ballistic experts, it seems like Spear Gold Dot and Hornady Critical Defense are the best hollow point 380 loads on the market right now. I was really excited to test the P365 and 380, so I filmed my first shots with it. Then I took it apart and lubricated it. Then I tried different ammo.
Yeah. Well, this is obviously a consistent problem.
Then I fired a little over 500 rounds of these different kinds of ammunition, and absolutely none of it worked reliably. So I reached out to Sig and asked them what was going on, and they asked me to send the gun back to them. When they received the gun in, they informed me that the issue was that it had a bulged recoil spring, and that's what was causing all of those malfunctions. They wound up returning that exact same gun to me with 500 rounds of their 380 so that I could continue on with this testing process. With the repaired gun, I was able to fire all 500 rounds of the Sig ammunition with only a single malfunction, which was entirely my fault because I was using the 9mm mag without the 380 spacer, and that's what caused the malfunction. I went ahead and tested it with a small amount of the following ammo. I did have a single malfunction with the MagTech, but I will say that I don't think that this was just a one-off. I do think that the P365-380 is going to be ammo sensitive. Even though Sig has mentioned that the P365-380 should be able to fit in all standard P365 holsters, I can absolutely verify that it does not reliably fit in all standard P365 holsters. The reason for this is because the slide on the 380 is ever so slightly thinner, and so it can actually let the gun teeter-totter back and forth inside the holster, which is going to affect the overall retention of the holster. That said though, it could still be worth trying the P365-380 in a standard P365 adjustable retention holster so that you can crank down on that retention and adjust that even a little bit tighter. But to caveat, I have not been able to personally test this, but it could be worth trying if you're desperate for a compatible holster option for the 380. So my two main qualms with this gun is that it does seem like it's going to be a bit more ammo sensitive, and that holster compatibility is gonna be pretty spotty with this one. It's gonna be really important to test your defensive ammo quite a bit in this gun before choosing to carry it to make sure that it can cycle that ammo. It's also probably going to be important to contact whatever holster company you're considering going with and making sure that they've actually test fit the 380 in there. If you do decide to get this gun, I would recommend shooting at the very least 100 rounds of range ammo and about 50 rounds of carry ammo through the gun to verify that you don't have the same recoil spring issue that I did. After looking through several reviews, I've discovered that I'm actually not the only one who had issues with malfunctions. Granted, the issue was addressed and solved for me, but it's possible that this might be cropping up on a larger scale as well. If at all possible, I'd aim to get at least 500 rounds total through the gun before relying on it. At the end of the day, this gun shoots awesome. And at this point, with the caveat that you want to vet your specific gun, I'd recommend this gun to people who are recoil sensitive, people who want a slide that's a little bit easier to rack, and people who want a higher level of shooting performance in a much smaller package. There's currently no way that I'm aware of to make a gun this small in 9mm shoot this well. And honestly, for the $500 price range, I think it's pretty tough to beat.
I've ever enjoyed shooting a handgun, like a small concealed size handgun like this ever before. Like, I love shooting my Glock 42, but this is nice.
Not even the Spectre comp comes close to how easy this gun is to shoot. And in all honesty, if it wasn't for the holster compatibility issue, I would be seriously considering ditching my P365 and 9mm altogether and completely adopting this 380. Thank you for watching the entirety of this review. I hope I was able to answer all of your questions, but if not, if you still have more questions about the 380, please comment down below and I'll answer your questions down in the comments. And if you're still looking for more information surrounding the P365 series, come back next week where I'm going to do a video on the P365, the X, the XL, the Spectre comp, the P365 380, all compared head to head. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.